This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. 5 dead after 3 separate gun attacks in downtown Kingston. The major shopping district of downtown Kingston was tense Friday after the murders of at least 4 persons in 3 separate incidents in only a few hours. Earlier Friday, there was a double murder along Darling Street in the vicinity of Coronation Market, where armed thugs killed a man known as Bundown, a known associate of Leighton Livity Coke, the brother of incarcerated former Tivoli Garden strongman Christopher Dudus Coke. The other victim remains unidentified. A woman who was traveling with one of the victims reportedly died of a suspected heart attack as a result of the attack. We have confirmed the double murder, but we have no details from the investigators at this time, a representative of the Corporate Communication Unit told the news. Hours later, a man known as Rolex, reportedly of a Jonestown address, was killed by armed men who reportedly tailed him to the Matthews Lane area of downtown Kingston and murdered him. Shortly after that, a man was gunned down along Orange Street in the commercial district. He was reportedly sitting on a stool when he was pounced upon by gunmen who shot him multiple times. We will have more details as the story breaks. 3 shot, 2 fatally in Claremont attack. Detectives assigned to the Area 3 Major Investigation Division are probing the circumstances surrounding the killing of a man and a woman and the injury of another by unknown assailants last evening in Clarendon. The deceased have been identified as a 47-year-old Cleverton Brown, otherwise called Buddha, and Beverly Pinnock, both of the Gale Housing Scheme in Lionel Town. The police report that about 6:25 p.m., Brown, Pinnock, and another woman were among a group sitting in their yard when gunmen traveling in a motor car opened fire, hitting them. The police were alerted and they were taken to the hospital, where Brown and Pinnock were pronounced dead and the other woman was admitted. 100 schools still without internet access. The Ministry of Education says about 100 schools still do not have internet access, even as schools have been directed to have virtual classes due to the spike in COVID-19 cases in Jamaica. Education Minister Favour Williams disclosed that an interministerial task force has been holding meetings with the private sector in relation to the connectivity issues in schools. The task force is assessing 1,000 schools, 100 of which have been found to have no internet access at all. Ms. Williams said the initiative to get schools connected to the internet will start with institutions that have a large student population, since they have a greater demand for bandwidth, and then we'll move to the next set of schools. Those developments are expected to be completed in 6 to 8 months. The ministry said issues such as a procurement timeline for aspects of the project could significantly delay the wide-scale implementation. Expect delays on Mandala Highway during no-movement days. The National Works Agency is advising essential workers and other motorists that corrective works will be undertaken along sections of the Mandala Highway next week during the government-imposed no-movement days. The works, which have been scheduled to commence at 5 a.m. Sunday, September 12, will continue until 4 p.m. Tuesday, September 14. Manager of Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, stated that motorists should expect a significant reduction in available lanes as China Harbour Engineering Company will be correcting defects along the roadway. The works, he said, will mainly involve the removal of uneven pavement on the approaches to the Fresh River Bridge, the overpass bridge, and the box culverts. The contractor will be removing the pavement to expose the road base, which is the source of the defect. The corrective work will include adding more base material in the targeted areas. The works are expected to improve the overall driving surface, the release stated. The NWA is therefore urging motorists who have to be on the road during no-movement days to exercise due caution when traveling along the roadways where roadworks are being undertaken. Cornwall Regional Hospital forced to rearrange staff as 53 nurses in COVID isolation. The news has been informed that the administration of Cornwall Regional Hospital has made temporary staffing changes after a number of nurses became infected with the coronavirus. An official told the news on Thursday afternoon that some nurses have been reassigned to help ease the personnel shortage. The Nurses Association of Jamaica earlier reported that 53 nurses employed to the hospital are now under observation after testing positive or displaying symptoms of COVID-19. 30 of them have so far tested positive for the virus. NAJ President Patsy Edwards Henry disclosed that nurses at other hospitals, including Mandala Regional Hospital and Bellevue Hospital, continue to be affected by the coronavirus. The NAJ is making checks to ascertain the total number of nurses island-wide who are currently COVID-19 positive. Mrs. Edward Henry on Thursday said nurses continue to be exposed to COVID-19 as many of them are operating without the required personal protective equipment. She said PPE supplies are often quickly depleted due to the high number of patients turning up at hospitals. We find that the patients they come with no symptoms, and you are caring for them in your surgical mask, which does not give you 100% protection, which you should have while caring for the COVID-19 positive patients. The ministry is always trying to ensure that we have the PPE, but with the number of cases rising, it's sometimes difficult. And it is also difficult for the nursing and the healthcare teams for everyone to be in N95 mask all day, all the time, Mrs. Edwards Henry outlined. Dismantling of gangs key to reducing crime in St. Catherine North. The St. Catherine North Police Division is attributing its success in the current reduction in murders and shootings in the division to making inroads in the dismantling of the feared Spanish Town-based Klansman gang, which for years has been fueling major crimes in the division. Internal gang conflicts sparked by power struggle among the top-tier members of the criminal organization had also contributed to the high crime rate in the division. But the police have arrested a number of the alleged gang members, including the alleged leader Andre Blackman, who is scheduled to stand trial along with 29 others on September 20 in the Supreme Court. About 50 alleged members were captured in different operations. However, 20 were later released due to a lack of evidence in their criminal matters. Former alleged leader of the gang, Tesha Miller, is also in custody serving a life sentence for accessory to murder before the fact and accessory to murder after the fact in relation to the 2008 murder of Douglas Chambers, the then chairman of the state-owned Jamaica Urban Transit Company. A struggle for power between Miller, who was at the time reportedly heading the gang, and the black man was reported to have started the bloody internal feud within the gang, which, according to police, reeks in $1.5 million daily in extortion rackets. However, Division Commander Senior Superintendent Howard Chambers said although gang violence remains a challenge for the division, the police are confident that they have put a dent in the gang's operation. We have been making some strident moves over the last couple of months, and probably that's why the division has been enjoying a reduction in major crimes, he said. In fact, as we speak, the division is 17% down in murders. Last year at this time, we were at 80 murders and we are at 69 this morning. When it comes to shooting, we are 35% down, SSP Chambers added. Further, he noted that murders and shootings, which had been rampant in the major town centers in the division, had decreased significantly. We haven't had any major incidents since the start of the year, and this is because of our assiduous work in the area of public order operation, coupled with the use of Jamaica Eye, which is all over the place in the towns, and so we have been proactive in doing a lot of operation in the town centers, SSP Chambers pointed out. However, the St. Catherine crime boss said despite success, the police will be increasing their effort to clamp down on the gang's operation, as the gang has again split and different factions have spilled over into Jones Avenue and Quarry Hill communities. He also pointed out that a new grouping is in the Fraser's Content community. According to SSP Chambers, gang members in those areas, as well as in Shelter Rock, are fueling a fresh wave of gang violence in the division, which in one weekend alone has claimed the lives of 5 persons. However, he said the police will be intensifying their operation in those areas. 638 new COVID-19 cases, 8 more deaths. Jamaica has recorded 8 more COVID-19 deaths, pushing the tally to 1,693. Those who have died are a 33-year-old woman from St. James, an 86-year-old man from St. James, a 60-year-old man from St. Catherine, a 96-year-old woman from St. Catherine, a 79-year-old man from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 56-year-old man from Westmoreland, a 69-year-old woman from Manchester, and an 83-year-old woman from Manchester. The Ministry of Health says the deaths occurred between August 10 and September 8. One more case has been recorded as coincidental death, increasing the tally to 175. And 13 more fatalities are under investigation, moving that figure to 223. Meanwhile, there were 638 new cases, with ages ranging from 1 day to 97 years, pushing the total to 74,645, with 23,229 being active. Of the new infections, 366 are women, 271 are men, and 1 case is under investigation. The parish breakdown is as follows: Kingston and St. Andrew 140, St. Catherine 126, Manchester 65, St. Anne 60, St. James 52, Portland 49, Trelawney 34, St. Elizabeth 29, Clarendon 24, Westmoreland 22, Hanover 15, St. Mary 13, and St. Thomas 9. A total of 1,841 tests were conducted. The country's positivity rate stands at 36.1%. In the meantime, there were 104 more recoveries, increasing the total to 49,335. Some 812 persons are in hospital, with 138 being moderately ill, 106 severely ill, and 51 critically ill, and 41,767 persons are in home quarantine. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.